I'm the Space Quest historian. There's a weird sort of filter over my face, or maybe it's just foggy outside. I don't know. But anyway, I was reminded yesterday about the importance of styli. And as you know, my stance on people who, are into vinyls and turntables and stuff, they're a bit insane. And they're a bit gatekeepy, and it's a hard hobby to get into because it's a very pricey hobby, and the people who are very much into vinyls are also the ones who are, let's say a bit gatekeepy. But one thing they do have absolutely on point is the importance of having a good stylus for your turntable. And I was reminded of this yesterday because I set up my two turntables, my two auxiliary turntables as it is. I'm also insane. To have a little private DJ fun, just on my own really. And this guy is an image line, whatever the fuck, DJP104 USB. It's not the best turntable in the world, but it does have a nice little ortophon. If you would get in focus, please. It does not want to focus. Oh well, it's an ortophon. It's an ortophon CM5S. And over here we have the Fenton, check the on-screen caption. And this one is also a very good entry-level turntable. It's one of those desktop turntables that has, built-in speakers. Not the classiest hi-fi shit you've ever heard, but it's serviceable. And I actually recommend this as an entry-level turntable because while it may look like one of those cheap little suitcase motherfuckers, it is not. It actually does have a proper stylus with a proper counterweight. So you can actually adjust. Also, it's got rubber feet, and it's got a belt drive mechanism that doesn't crap its pants every time you play a record, and it's actually a pretty good entry-level turntable. But as you can see, this thing is fitted with its... God damn it, you will just not focus today, will you? Let's try turning the camera around so we can maybe see what's going on. So this thing is fitted with its factory stylus. And over here we have the ortophon stylus. Focusing is just not the order of the day today. So what I got here is I've got... Jesus Christ, camera, are you fucking kidding me? There we go. Maybe I should work on my lighting setup. Anyway, what we've got here are two identical records. This is the Space Quest 4 soundtrack, and when I play those back to back, it's very obvious to hear the difference in sound quality. This guy is a bit more tinny, but he also sounds a bit better when pumped through less than ideal speakers. So he's got more of a, not richness, but he's got more of a punch. Whereas this guy is more subtle, but has more dynamic range, and the bass is better. And I guess this is where richness is really the appropriate word, because this guy sounds rich and full. And this guy sounds like he should be pumped through those little Creative Labs speakers you used to get with desktop computers back in the 90s. So let me just try and put on these two records. Man, the dust on the records really comes through when you have a shitty camera, doesn't it? Okay, so now we've got them both playing the same record at the same time, and I'm going to switch between them using my fancy little Dynavox, of course out of focus Dynavox, because it's all the way down here. Here we go, my little Dynavox stereo hi-fi amplifier system, and if I twist this around from tuner, the tuner is currently playing the stage line with the ortophon pickup. And if I switch that over to CD, never mind. We're now listening to the Fenton. And as you can hear, it's a little meatier and it's a little punchier, whereas this guy, switching right now, it's a little richer, it's a little fuller, it's a little quieter, but, that's why we have volume knobs. And of course, let me just turn this thing off again. Of course, listening to my shitty lav mic try to pick up my speakers that are way over there is not the ideal test, and certainly not if you want to listen to this with headphones. So, as I just spoiled, I went ahead and pre-baked an example for you by recording the line out from my little Dynavox down there somewhere, so you can listen to the difference between the two. Now please put on your headphones for this, because if you listen to this through your computer speakers, you may erroneously think that the Fenton is actually outperforming the Ortofon. But if you put on your headphones and have a quick listen, you'll see that that is indeed not the case. Now, the fun thing about that little experiment is that it actually highlights something that the vinyl nerds have got right. It is that if you invest in higher quality equipment, you'll get a higher quality performance. And sometimes that involves wading through forum posts of people talking about tube amplifiers and mechanical versus belt-driven turntables and all that shit. And none of that truly matters if you just want to listen to a good record. But one thing I think does matter is the way that the turntable picks up the sound from the vinyl. And that's the one little part where I'll give the vinyl gatekeepers their due. It is, if you actually go out and invest in a turntable, you want to get a stylus that actually reproduces the sound the way God intended, or at least as close to as whatever God, in this case the mastering engineer, intended. Because turntables sound differently. Amps sound differently as well, of course. Now, one thing you may have also noticed about the little example, the headphone example I just played, is that the Ortofon here, our little friend here, the one that I feel is the superior model because it is also having a little bit of a phase problem. Some of the audio is sort of out of phase, and I'm not entirely sure what that's about. So please try to look past that part of the test. I'm going to have him looked at because he's not supposed to be doing that. He is supposed to have a nice dead center sound coming through. But you know, for the most part, this dude is doing well. Now, obviously, like I said, this is not my main setup. I have a proper Technics 1210 turntable downstairs with a NAD amplifier, and that's my main unit, and that's what I use to listen to records on. But this is my little bedroom setup, and this is where I like to kick back and listen to, you know, a record before I fall asleep or whatever, or when I'm doing work that doesn't involve headphones. It was kind of a fun experiment to put these like neck and neck and put the same record on, which I did last night, and I was like, wait, wow. Because I had my headphones on, and I was like, wow, there really is a tremendous difference, isn't there? Like, I was expecting minute differences. Again, I don't trust vinyl nerds, but I was expecting like a minute difference, but there really is a world of difference. And like I said, the Fenton dude is not terrible. He's actually a really good entry-level turntable, and this guy is a fairly decent, like, bottom line turntable, but with a really nice stylus on it. And you can tell just by switching between the two that this guy with the nice stylus is really, yeah, that's where the shit is. So do yourself a favor. If you go to a thrift store and you pick up a used turntable, which I recommend, by the way, because there's nothing wrong with these old turntables. The only thing you really need to do is look into what cartridge is on it and invest in a replacement stylus. Because more often than not, first of all, if you get a thrift store turntable, the stylus will have had some years on it, so it might be a bit beat up and you're really better off replacing it anyway. That's when you go online and you figure out, okay, so what's my budget for actually getting a proper stylus? Because it is going to make more of a difference than you think. Wow, that was rambly. Anyway, so happy spinning. Oh, and a quick little addendum. If you like this video, or if you like the other videos I'm doing on this dumping channel, please give it a subscribe, because when we hit 1,000 subscribers, I'm eligible for live streaming, and that means I'll do a 2-turntable DJ set. I will be using the lovely little image line here with the Ortofon pickup, but I will not be using the Fenton. Don't worry, I'll be using my 1210 downstairs. And I'm gonna be switching between the 2 turntables and just have a proper little DJ. I say proper. It's gonna be very amateurish, but it's gonna be fun. So yeah, please subscribe if you are so inclined and haven't already. And if you have already, thank you very much. Tell your friends. Try the potato salad, call your mom. See you around the Chrono Stream. Bye.